Terrorists in Nigeria are now using AI to build bombs and explosives that they use in wiping out Nigerians. It sounds like a joke, but honestly, I wish I was joking. This is the situation of things right now, and we need to talk about it. In 2017, a Boko Haram commander wrote to his bosses and he was begging for help. He was begging because they needed help. They had captured some military rifles and weapons, sophisticated weapons that they couldn't use. They could not load the weapons to use them. So they tried to watch some videos, tried to make some research, all to no avail. They had to abandon these weapons. 9 years later, the same thing happened. They captured some rifles from the Nigerian army and couldn't load it again. So this time around, instead of videos and begging and all those things, they simply went to an AI chatbot, typed in the weapons model number and some prompts. Everything was in full display. They knew how to load the weapons and use it. And this is only one instance where these terrorists have actually used this to their advantage. The official record is that Boko Haram has claimed the lives of at least 43,000 Nigerians and displaced about 3.1 million Nigerians. And one of the attributing factors towards their success is AI, even though this was introduced 3 years ago. What you're seeing is a report exposing how Boko Haram and ISWAP terrorists have used AI towards maximizing their casualties and reducing risks in their camps. This report was carried out by Antonia Juelich, a researcher with Cambridge University's program on AI science and policy. She interviewed 27 former Boko Haram terrorists who are now repentant Boko Haram members, and this happened in 2025 and 2026. She used 2 years, 2 separate times to actually do this research. Now, this whole innovation in the Boko Haram camp started in 2015, where they declared allegiance to ISIS. And ISIS in turn, of course, they are heavily funded, came in and supported, including sophisticated arms, personnel, trainers, and all that. But this process, however, was slow. One of the commanders even admitted that a Boko Haram member tried to cut open a bullet and he claimed his life in the process. These are the kind of risks they faced. But in 2023, they only need to go into an AI chatbot, ask the chatbot a question regarding whatever they wanted to do, and it gives them a direct tactical or direct measures that they are going to carry out, and it is most times have proven to be very effective. And here's the part that really got me worried and thinking, that some white men came in and trained them. These white men were from France, were from Iraq, were from Lebanon, and other Arabian countries. They came in, gave them encrypted laptops where they have bypassed some security measures and all that. These laptops had strong VPNs and proxies that disguised their location and all those sorts of things. And above all, it had AI chatbots and trained the higher ranking and mid-ranking officers on how to use these AI chatbots in order to get what they want. And they even reported situations where the AI will fail to give them some answers. All these guys needed to do was to say they are using it for a movie or a dramatical play, and they get dangerous information that they use in making explosives and tactics that they use in wiping out more Nigerians. Oh, this is a lot to take in, honestly, if you ask me. While I was reading this report, one thing was just in my mind. What exactly did Nigerians do to deserve this kind of punishment? Not only are they scrambling for the wealth of Nigeria, but that they have to kill hundreds, if not thousands of people in the process. Now, that's not all. Another example was where the Nigerian Armed Force dropped a bomb and the bomb failed to detonate. So hundreds of them came, tried to find out ways around it. The bomb went off in the process and killed about 40 Boko Haram terrorists that day in their camp. But they said something like that happened recently again when the bomb failed to detonate, and they went to the AI chatbot and asked, and it gave them some procedures to follow, and that only one person should carry out the procedure in order to minimize casualty. And they did that and it was successful. Another example was how AI helped them tactically. That initially, the Nigerian army were claiming the lives of lots of Boko Haram members. They were losing way too many fighters. Because the Nigerian army made foxholes. Those holes that they dig in the ground and shoot at enemy. They used that method and claimed about hundreds of Boko Haram terrorist members. And when they consulted the AI on what to do, and it gave them a solution, they use their bikes and mountain bikes to calculate the distance where they can, use some tools and then just go overhead and shoot at them and all those. And they trained for weeks. Not only did this give them, tactics and they just went and did it and it was successful. No, they reported that they sat for weeks and days in rain and in sun practicing and perfecting these tactics. And they did. And it was also successful. And this is the scary part, because they reported that initially they needed at least 200 people for an operation, but now they only need 20 because They now have better tactics and they've learned to build bombs and explosives that they can use where they do not need many casualties anymore and they can actually maximize their efforts with these few people. If all this does not scare you, it scares me. Now, here's a disclaimer. This is not synonymous to Nigeria alone because we've had situations in the United States where teams have actually consulted AI, built some explosives, school shootings here and there, that these shooters later admitted that they used AI and how AI helped them to achieve this feat. There are basically two things we need to talk about in this regard. First, AI safety, and second, the people sponsoring these terrorists. You see, when we are talking about AI safety, a lot of people think that this is some kind of, war against AI and chatbots and all those things because it doesn't hurt anyone. Simply asking a chatbot question does not really hurt anyone. This is a direct consequence of these AI companies not doing what they ought to do. That is taking the necessary precautionary measure and making sure that their AI are safe, that their AI does not harm anyone. We've seen countless situations where AI models have hurt children, even one that committed suicide because they were chatting with an AI character and they felt they were in love, and eventually the AI told them to commit suicide to come and meet them and stuff like that. It did. Now, there is a risk going on, and this risk has to be mitigated. Most times when the discussion on AI safety comes up, there is absolutely no African there. There is no Nigerian to even say that we are facing this. Do Nigerians and Africans even know that they are facing the brunt of the lack of safety of AI? No. Now, the other part that actually got me really, really worried and kept me awake all night was realizing that this war is even bigger than the Nigerian government. If foreigners are involved, if foreign countries like France, Iraq are already involved and are sponsoring these guys, giving them all the necessary tools, they have 247 light through solar, they have all the necessary equipment they need to wipe out Nigerians. Definitely, the government knows who is behind it and how they carry out these operations. But they cannot do anything about it because this is already an existing contract that before these politicians come into office, they have already agreed to maintain the status quo, to maintain whatever contract that is already existing, that they do not disturb or go against the agreements and the terms of their coming into office. Former President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan actually pointed on this. He talked about how he faced a lot of foreign interference and how it forced him to leave office. These are the kind of things we are facing, and Nigerians do not even know that foreign powers have already taken hold of this country. That most times when you see insurgency, it is not really about Boko Haram or how the government has failed to protect lives. It is because this war is actually above them and they can do almost nothing about it. Now, this is to tell you one thing, that the people that are actually behind the insurgency of Nigeria are not Nigerians, not even the Nigerian government. These are forces way powerful and greater than the Nigerian government is. Guys, Nigeria is actually cooked. And I'm not saying this to scare you or to make you feel some type of way. I am only saying this so that Nigerians see their problem and know how to face it squarely. At least countries like Iran know their problems. They know that Israel and US is their problem. But we do not know our problem. We do not know the foreign powers that are actually interfering in our national affairs, that is causing us to face the amount of hunger, the amount of terrorism that we are currently facing. Now, I am going to leave you with this, that all these reports actually happened 2 years, 3 years ago. We do not know what exactly they are doing now because when the reporter asked whether they are planning to make weapons of mass destruction, they say that they have not started or they have not done it or thought about it, but they are not against it. This is the danger here because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, even 10 years from now, what is going to happen? How far would these guys have gone? This is a serious cause for worry and this deserves all the attention it can get because Nigerians are in very big trouble. We are in a prison and we need to get out of it. And the only way to get out of it is if Nigerians decide that they want to get out. Until I see you next time, remain peaceful.